I want to bring the meeting to order.
Attendance. Where I'm going to back my hour.
Chairman Karen,
Here.
O'Brien, Fine, and Peter are excused. Bergdorf,
Here.
Tani,
Here.
Rosano's on her way, Reinhardt,
Yeah.
and Smith.
Here.
500, Mr. Chairman.
Check making emails.
3:45, hard stop. Harper meeting, Jenny called me and told me.
Oh, I owe you very much.
Absolutely, oh, big time. I'll collect on that at some point.
Both of them, right?
That's what I said to her.
Okay. The first item is approving the previous minutes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed.
All right. Item 2 is authorizing an agreement with Rico Americas Corporation regarding the lease and maintenance of high-speed and color copiers for the County of Albany.
Hi, Pam O'Neill for purchasing,
Oh.
presenting for Commissioner Latina. So the current lease for the production copiers is due to end in December. So General Services is requesting to enter into a new 4-year lease with Rico Corporation, and they were the lowest responsible bidder.
Any questions? Have a motion? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Passed. Thank you.
All right. Item 3 is authorizing an agreement with Appalachia LLC regarding the purchase of road salt for snow and ice removal on county roads and state highways. Commissioner Raimondo is here.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Yes, so this is our yearly salt contract. Appalachia was the low bidder on the state contract. Fortunately, this year, the bids came in much less expensive than they were last year. Last year, they were $73 a ton. This year, $61 a ton. So we're going to make out this year, hopefully.
Paul?
Lisa, I ask this every year. How much do you have in the bank before the winter starts of salt?
So we have a lot in the bank right now,
Okay.
actually. We have about $600,000 worth of salt in the bank.
Okay. And then at a reduced price, you have capacity to add
We
more
have-
than you could ever add.
Yes.
So,
So we don't know how much it's going to come in at. Like, it's been so volatile lately, we were surprised at how low it came in. Because in, like, last year, it went from like in the low 60s up to 73. And we thought, you know, with all the volatility, how do we budget for this? What's it going to be? And we were surprised it came in so low.
so
we should-
is this price good for the entire calendar year?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Awesome.
Yep.
Which calendar year?
It's from starting now until like August of next year, so.
Through the winter season. That year, the
It's-
winter.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion. I'll
Second? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed.
All right. Item 4 is authorizing an agreement with the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee regarding the Child Passenger Safety Program. Commissioner?
Yep. This is a grant we apply for every year. This year, we were awarded $37,000, and this money goes toward the purchase of car seats and other items such as tent rental for our events.
Any questions? Second? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Passed. Thank you.
Item 5 is amending the 2023 Water Purification District budget for overtime expenses. Director Gaudio is here this evening.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is a budget amendment request for overtime expenses. Just due to continued staff shortages, we're still having an issue with our overtime numbers. So the amount that we're requesting to be transferred is $269,000. Of that, $4,000 will be moved into our 8120 line, which is our collection system, or collection maintenance group, and then 8130, which is our operations and maintenance group, will get the remaining $265,000.
Paul?
Angelo, are these positions that are overtime transfers, that you're taking from, are these skilled positions within the Pure Waters Department?
It's a variety. We do have right now 8 vacancies on our process operator group, and that's really driving the majority of these overtime expenses. So it's a combination. We have 8 vacancies on the operations group, and I think 12 overall, which includes some labor positions. So I would say the majority is probably skilled.
I guess that was sort of my question is, what is your pool and where can you attract people from for those 8 skilled processor jobs?
Great question.
Been asking that for a while.
Yeah, the problem we're having is really we have a gap kind of in the mid-tier operations group only because they're civil service tested positions and there's certain requirements that they have so much experience, whether it be 6 months to a year. So unfortunately, we're not able to really kind of move people into those middle positions until they kind of get onboarded and are in those positions for a certain period of time. Again, we have been trying to attract people through the use of Indeed, and we've also been pretty aggressive in trying to get our guys to be certified through online programs that we've found. But in terms of actually getting the people into our facilities, I think that's what we're struggling with. Seems like what we're finding is a lot of the facilities in the area, wastewater plants, are kind of cannibalizing each other's staff. So again, we lost a few people to Saratoga. A couple years ago, we lost one to Bethlehem. So that's the kind of thing. I know we picked up one of the individuals from Gilderland. So it just seems like the folks that are in kind of the wastewater treatment business kind of circulate around. So that's kind of what we're challenged with.
Thank you, and I
All right, Bill.
apologize.
Well, he answers his phone. I was kind of related to what you were just saying. I'm seeing that you've got these unfilled positions, so you're moving that money over to pay for the overtime. I usually think that overtime is more dollars, higher rate. How were you able to take the vacant hours and use them to pay the overtime hours? I guess what I'm wondering about is since you had to pay more per hour for the overtime, do we need that many positions? That the ones where you're decreasing, or do you understand my question? It's like,
Yeah, I think-
there was no, it's a net zero.
Right. Yep.
We had the hours because of these positions you couldn't fill. We managed to do the work we needed to do with the overtime. Do we need all those lines to do the work?
Yes, the short answer is yes, because we're running into coverage issues where we've got individuals working 12, in some cases 24 hours on a shift for coverage. So I think the issue is because we have
Well,
so many.
You don't want that.
No. So I think there's a safety issue, obviously, with doing that. And then you have burnout concerns, just with like running people to 12 to 18 hours on a consistent basis. So I think the short answer is we need those staff, specifically on the operations, because those guys are critical to what we do. To answer your question as to kind of how we can make up the difference, again, we're pulling from multiple vacancies. So again, we've got 12 vacancies, and the majority of those overtime costs are associated with those process operators. Our maintenance mechanics really don't drive our overtime number nearly as much as those operators, because again, the way the schedule is structured, there is mandatory overtime baked into the schedule, and just by the fact that we have kind of voids or vacancies within that group, we are forced to kind of have those guys work extra hours, but just because of the number of vacancies, we are able to cover those expenses on the overtime.
Paul?
This is really sort of a civil service question. For these operator positions, do people actually have to have a technical license or certification to do it? Or is there a way under, I know a lot of positions under the civil service law, you can appoint somebody, maybe a lower entry-level person who's been working for you for a year as a provisional? And sort of train them in place?
Yeah,
Can you do that?
we've been doing that. So right now, we have basically 3 tiers. We have a process operator 1, which is entry level. That is a decentralized civil service exam, so we do that on continuous recruitment. So the good thing is the county is able to offer that test and get that turned around fairly quickly. Unfortunately, the mid-tier, which is our PO2 position and our PO3 position as a senior, are still state civil service exams. We have not had those exams issued in 4 years. So we already have a large portion of our staff on a provisional appointment anyway. So that's, I know Mike Lally's done a good job with kind of working with the state, but unfortunately, as it relates to kind of our group, we just haven't been able to get around civil service requirements at this point.
Any other questions? Need a motion? Second before, all in favor? Aye. Pass.
Item 6 is authorizing an agreement with High Voltage Electric Service, Inc. for the replacement of a voltage switch at the Water Purification District's North Plant.
Thank you. This is a failure of a high voltage switch that was supplying power to our solids building at our north plant. The failure occurred back in July. We contracted with High Voltage Electric Service to do the initial inspection and repair. Unfortunately, the repair included the replacement of that switch entirely. So this is for the authorization, essentially of the work that's already been done, but then also the budget transfer. We were able to secure insurance money for this repair through our boiler and machine insurance policy. So the overall repair was $270,525. Of that, $260,525 is being kind of reimbursed to us through an insurance payment. And we're really just looking to do the budget amendment to transfer that money from a revenue line back into the equipment repair line that the repair is paid from.
Any questions? Bill?
I apologize, I'm gonna sound stupid when I ask this question. Is this item and the following item the same high voltage circuit?
No, so this, the second one is actually a deficiency in a switch we discovered while doing the emergency repair on the first switch.
Oh,
So they're two.
that's why the dollar amounts are different.
Yeah, they're two different switches. Unfortunately, they're still at the north plant though, so.
All right, I read it like three times trying to
Yep.
figure out if, yeah. But
Yeah, no,
so,
I
so
think-
this action is really just the insurance, moving the insurance?
Yeah, the work has been done due to the dollar value. We still brought it in front of the legislature, but again, really for the first one, it's going to be the budget amendment to transfer that insurance money back into the equipment repair line.
It's nice to have good insurance.
I'll make a motion.
So far.
Second? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Pass.
Item 7 is authorizing an agreement with High Voltage Electric Service, Inc. regarding the replacement of a voltage switch at the district's North Plant Return Sledge Building.
Thank you. So this, again, was an item that we discovered. So this was a deficiency in another high voltage switch that was feeding our return sludge building. We basically are fed by two different power feeds, and when we were doing the power shutdown to address the emergency switch repair, we discovered that there was an actual mechanical deficiency within the switch to the point where it couldn't be repaired. We did a bid for the replacement of this. We were able to get at least 3 electrical contractors to show up for the pre-bid. Unfortunately, because we had a timeline of having this work completed by year end, only one contractor actually bid the work, and again, that was High Voltage Electric Services because they had most of the equipment already kind of in their stockpile. So this request is for the approval of $315,000 for the award to High Voltage Electric Service for the switch repair.
Any questions? Have a motion? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Pass.
Item 8 is authorizing agreements with Direct Energy Business regarding the supply of natural gas for various county facilities.
Thank you. So on behalf of the Energy Advisory Group for the county, we are requesting permission to enter into an agreement with Direct Energy for the supply of natural gas. This is for various accounts throughout the county. And the basic premise for this is similar to kind of how we approve the electric supply contract. Traditionally, we were using a fixed cost for our gas supply due to the volatility. We've elected to approach this similar to how we've moved to the electric supply, and where we would basically monitor market conditions and then lock in layers as kind of rates come down. So the way this was structured is we locked in our basis cost, which is essentially the transportation cost. And those dollar values are laid out in the letter. But for the monthly accounts, which are essentially our smaller consumption accounts, that dollar value for the basis cost is 0.475 cents per MMBTU. And again, the intent is to layer on the supply charges on top of that. So essentially, we can dollar cost average those costs down over the course of the year. The contracts are currently set to expire in October 31st of 2020, or 2025, actually, for the monthly accounts. So again, we've got a long runway to really kind of look at opportunities to kind of take advantage of drops in the market over the next year plus. Similarly, on the daily accounts, these are our large consumption accounts, which includes the treatment plants as well as the correctional facility. We locked in the basis cost. The basis cost for those accounts is higher, so it's $2.14 per MMBTU. The reason for that difference in price is because of the prime firm capacity, which is basically the guarantee that it's an uninterruptible power or gas supply. So we basically pay a premium on those accounts just because, again, we can't suspend gas to those facilities. Same thing, those contracts are going to be dollar cost average over the year, and then we will be looking to have those in place prior to October 31st of '24.
Paul?
Generally speaking, comparison of these costs to the last time we went out? to bid?
Previous, they're higher. So we had discussions with Direct Energy back in end of March, April. We had requested a fixed price at that time, and both the accounts were significantly higher based on where we were historically. So this is why we locked in the basis cost. The monthly accounts right now are ahead of that fixed price as it was presented in, I'll say, April by a decent amount. I think we're about, 5 and change. But bear with me, I actually kind of jotted some numbers down.
Any other questions?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get an answer at that. So for the current rate, which at least for the monthly accounts is set to expire in 2025, that rate is $3.49 per MMBTU. Based on the basis cost that's been locked in, plus the amounts that we've already layered in, we're looking at $4.69.05. So there's a considerable difference. You're looking at probably a 35% difference there. On the daily account, which is the much larger account, we're looking at an equivalent of going from $3.53 up to $6.36. So there's a big jump on the large accounts.
How does that square with National Grid prognosticating that everybody's home heating bills were going to go down, gas bills were going to go down
I thought-
20% this winter? Is that just a snapshot in time that's an aberration, or?
Unfortunately, I think what we're seeing is, if you look at a year-to-year comparison, rates are down compared to where they were. I think when you look at how our contracts have been structured, we've had contracts in place, I think, since 2022. So we've been taking advantage of relatively low rates for quite a while now. It's just a matter of, if you compare it to last year, they're higher, but if you kind of go back over the span of when the contracts were in place, we've been on the kind of, I'll say, the winning side, because we've been taking advantage of low rates for quite a bit now. So I think that's why you're kind of seeing, press come out with lower rates, but again, they're comparing it to the highs of last year. So that's really kind of what's driving, I guess, the differences in kind of what you're hearing kind of in the news.
So what you're saying, I think, is that your other lower costs were from a multi-year
Correct.
deal,
Right.
not a one-year deal, which is typically
Right,
what the
yeah,
residential is.
and we did take advantage of some dips around during COVID, because we were able to lock in that continuation of that rate. And again, the lower rates extend out to, October of '24 for the daily accounts, which are again, the accounts for the treatment plants and the jail, and then out to '25. So really, we're not talking about some of these cost increases going out for at least another 2 years as it relates to the majority of the county facilities.
Well, let me ask, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, the $3 question. You put your budget together, and what are you showing year over year for power increases for the district? I haven't gone through the budget yet.
We did do a slight escalation for electric, because we had kind of gotten that number locked in previously. Actually, the electric contracts are set to expire in middle of next year, so I think we're talking June of 2024, those are set to expire. We did do an escalator, I don't recall the percent off the top of my head on the electric and gas, and we did do a slight escalator for gas only because that contract is set to expire on October 31st of '24, so it's really 2 months that we've got a buffer. Next year, really the big jump is gonna be into 2025 as it relates to the gas costs.
Okay.
So there is escalations on both electric and gas for '24, and then there will be an even larger escalation on gas in '25.
Okay. So I mean, we'll obviously unpack that through the budget.
Yeah, and again, I know the presentations are next week, but honestly, a majority of our costs are tied to, you know, insurance, energy, and labor, just because of the CSA agreement. So that's kind of, the other stuff has been kind of flat, everything else has been adjusted upwards because of that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions? Motion? Second? All in favor? Aye. Passed.
Item 9 is amending resolution number 396 for 2023 regarding the purchase and delivery of a used striping truck. And I apologize, Commissioner, I forgot we added this to the,
Oh,
I would
that's
have called it
okay.
earlier.
Sure. Yep. So we are requesting authorization to amend the contract to include delivery. When we first decided to purchase this truck, we thought we would save money and go and get it ourselves, and we thought it would cost us maybe about $1,000, $1,500 to drive down there, have a couple of guys stay in a hotel and that. So we were just going to purchase it. Then we had a road washout on October 7th, which was subsequent to us agreeing to paying, you know, not having it delivered. I couldn't afford to send my resources down for delivery of or to pick up the truck. So I entered into a contract to actually now include delivery. So, yeah,
So the change is just the delivery.
it's just the adding delivery, so
That's why it looks
yes.
so familiar.
Yeah,
I actually saw this truck in working up in my district. It seems to be okay, right? I mean, I know you guys did Jocelyn Schoolhouse Road the other day.
it is working.
That's all. I'll make a motion
To stripe the roads.
to pay for the delivery.
Yeah.
All in favor? Aye. Passed.
Thank you.
Take a motion to adjourn? Second, all in favor?
Aye.